I found something you guys are missing from your lives. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about GPS watches, primarily the GPS watch that I've been using and how I track my hikes, how I track my runs, everything that I do outdoors, why I think that every backpacker should have one of these on his wrist or her wrist. So GPS watches have been around for a while now. It's definitely not a new product on the market, but it's definitely something that not every backpacker uses while on the trail. Probably about 50% of the people I see on trail has a GPS watch on their wrist. And I know this because it's one of those things that when I pass somebody, you know, you're always checking out the gear they have. I'm always checking their wrist to see if they have a Garmin or a Coros or one of these GPS watches on, just like when they pass me and I kind of do the look back to see what kind of pack they have on their back. It's just the gearhead in me. But if you're like me, you like to track all your miles, you like to track your hikes, your runs, to kind of know you know, the exact mileage you're doing, because if you're just going off a map, you don't really know exactly what you're doing out there. And it's really nice to not only have the mileage, but have the stats of your heart rate and your pace, and just to keep a good track of, you know, whether it be progress, whether you're trying to get better or faster at hiking, running. It's just nice to have that information logged into data. So several people I know actually track their hikes through a phone app such as AllTrails or Gaia, and those apps work great. I pretty much use primarily my watch to track that. The reason for that being, I like to keep my phone battery as high as I can. It's definitely not comforting to have a dead phone when you're out in the middle of nowhere. So the phone sometimes is your lifeline if you're not carrying like a Spot device or a Garmin InReach, something with an SOS button to get out. It's nice to have a phone for that extra comfort of safety out there, as well as entertainment. I know I'm not big on like watching movies in my tent at night. I've done it a couple times, but I know a lot of people get to camp and they want to settle into their tent or hammock and watch reruns of The Office.
Ew. It says here Dan Becker fell off the side of Kilimanjaro in a climbing accident.
Really?
So first off, I'm going to tell you why you should have a GPS watch on your wrist while you're hiking, and then I'm going to go into why you should have this watch or this kind of watch on your wrist. So watches like this actually offer a lot of things that a phone can't do. Like you can look up where you are and check the weather on your phone if you have the internet. This has a thermometer right on it. Now granted, you have to take it off your wrist, so when I go to sleep at night, I always take my watch off, so if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm curious, I can always check the temperature. But this has a thermometer, it has a barometer, it has a compass, it has an altimeter, which is awesome for hiking, it has a heart rate monitor, and it's also a smartwatch, so any notifications you get off your phone, everything's right in your wrist. Like that's the number one thing with this. If I'm getting a little turned around on trail, I want to check my orientation, make sure I'm heading the right direction that my map tells me I should be. Everything's right on my wrist. It's not like I have to get my big bulky phone out of a pocket and check it. So this watch is actually a Coros PACE. A little bit lesser known brand, Korros. They've only been on the market for, I want to say like 5 or 6 years. They're definitely up and coming. So I'll tell you what the selling point of the Korros was for me. I heard great things about the battery life of these watches. So I've been using a Garmin Phoenix, an older model, for years now, and it had decent battery life. I think it would last for about 8 or 9 hours. But I found like when I ran ultra marathons, I would literally have to charge my watch with a battery pack while running to be able to track the entire thing. So I was really looking for watches that had longer battery life, and there's not a whole lot out there for a good price that can track a long time. Coros was kind of a newer brand. They are definitely killing the market as for budget options that still have amazing battery life. I'm going to get into the battery life in this thing in a second. It's crazy, but honestly, the way I found out about Korros is Zach Bitter is a ultra runner that actually just set the, it might have been a year ago or so now, but he set the 100-mile running speed record with a Coros watch. So that's all I needed to know. I pretty much went out and ordered a Korros the next day. These watches are amazing, so I'm going to give you my first experience with this watch. So I get this thing, I charge it up to 100%, and I'm really going to test the battery life of this. I tracked this thing on a backpacking trip, and it was a 3-day backpacking trip, so I started and stopped at a different track every day, and it was like still doing great on battery. And then I hiked the rest of the week. I did a couple day hikes, and I went on run after run after run, trying to get this thing to die. And there were days when I'd go out for 30-40 minute runs and I'd come back and the watch wouldn't even have lost 1% of battery life. So this thing is crazy. Like, honestly, by the end of its battery life, I was trying to get it to die. I was going on extra runs just to see how much battery life I could log out of this, because I had a long run coming up and I had to kill the battery. And to tell you the truth, I never killed the battery. It was very, very low, but I ended up charging it because I had a long run to do. But long story short, I'll tell you the stats here. So I logged 14 activities with this watch over a span of 19 days. Now, I didn't shut the watch off at all during that time. So 19 days, 14 days of GPS logged activity, and I added it up, and it's about 24 and a half hours of GPS life on this watch, which is crazy. I mean, there's watches out there that are as good and better, for sure, but this is a $250 watch. This is the Coros PACE. I actually got it right before they released the Coros PACE 2, but the PACE 2 is $250, and for that price, the battery life and getting a altimeter and all these other options, which was a necessity for me for hiking. I wanted altimeter, I wanted a compass, I wanted a thermometer, all things that I use on every backpacking trip. This was just, I mean, it was a no-brainer. There are other watches out there that directly compete with this, like the new Garmin Phoenixes. Suuntos have great battery life, but some of these watches are $500, $600, $700 to $1,000 watches. And I am never going to buy a watch that's $1,000, I'll tell you that right now. But $250 for all the options that this gets, definitely worth the money. So comparing this to other watches in its price range, my wife runs with a Garmin 235. That thing, it's a good watch. It's a smart watch. Also, it does heart rate, does a lot of things this does, but it also doesn't, it doesn't have a compass, doesn't have a thermometer, doesn't have an altimeter. This is definitely a better multi-sport watch. It actually has multi-sport modes, so I can go into swimming, hiking. It's got a triathlon mode. It's really got a lot of cool options like that as far as endurance activities go. And I was trying to find other watches in its price category to kind of compare it to, because I don't know a lot of specs of these other watches. So don't take my word for it completely. Do your research, look up, make sure a watch that you buy is going to have everything that you want. So I was pricing the Garmin Vivo Actives, and those are actually a little bit more than these. They're about $300. And they're cool. They have, like, you can download Spotify on them. They just have a lot of cool options like that. You can download music, Bluetooth straight to your headphones. But the battery life is like 5 hours. So if I'm running a marathon, tracking and listening to music, and I'm scared that my battery is gonna die within a 4 or 5 hour run, like, no way. Now, one thing the Coros watches don't have is I don't believe you can download like the topo maps on them. Now, a lot of them have the higher models of them that are really not even as expensive as the like the Phoenixes and the Suuntos. They'll be touchscreen, and you can like track your route, and you can zoom in and move them all around. Like, they're really cool. I highly suggest you go on the website and check these things out for yourself. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share with you my experience with this watch. As soon as I got it, I was super impressed with it. I've had plans of making this video for a long time. I've been sitting on this information of how long this battery life has lasted, and just really wanted to share with you guys my experience with this because I am enjoying it so much. Been using it for about 6 months now. And Korros actually had an online application to become an ambassador for 2021. And I was lucky enough to be one of the 150 people across the world chosen for the 2021 Coros Explorer team, which is really cool. It's not just runners. It's people, athletes, and explorers and adventurers of all kinds. You got mountaineers, you got skiers, just a lot of cool people. We're actually in a group chat together, and it's really cool seeing what everybody does. A little dry. So Korros is hooking me up with a lot of sweet gear, and they're actually giving me deals to give to you guys. So if you go check out on their website their watches and you happen to purchase one, you enter Coros-Newbold in the referral code, and you can you can get a free accessory. So you can get like a hat or a t-shirt or something. Just make sure you put the watch and the t-shirt in the shopping cart before you put the referral code in to get that accessory for free. I'm super thankful to Coros. Huge shout out to them. I don't think you guys will be disappointed with these, especially if you go with the Coros Vertex or the Coros Apex Pro, the upper models, which honestly I'm already thinking about upgrading because those watches are pretty sweet. So that's it. I just wanted to share with you guys how much I'm loving this watch and let you guys know that if you're not tracking with a GPS watch, just the convenience in the battery life you'll save on your phone, it's really worth it. It's really nice to have all this information right on your wrist when you're hiking a trail. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching again. Subscribe down below for more videos like this in the future. Hit that notification bell beside it so I can let you know when I upload new content. And yeah, gear videos, backpacking trip videos, all good stuff. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Don't you ever